Hello and welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer. Today we're going to be talking about 10 players that are currently playing in the Championship that Premier League clubs must sign. But before we jump into it, please make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel. Now, if you've been watching some of my transfer talks lately, you'll be used to this format that I'm going to use, and I'm going to bring it straight up. And as you can see, one of the first players that we're going to be speaking about very briefly. Going to go through the player, also talk about who club-wise he has been linked to, and then give a percentage at the end whether it will be happen or not. Of course, from the thumbnail and what I've just said, I've got 10 players that I'm going to be speaking about today. So let's jump straight into it. Ben Brereton Diaz, the 22-year-old striker currently playing for Blackburn Rovers, has been on absolutely electric form this season. As you can see off presentation, scoring 19 goals in just 23 appearances in the Championship this year. Interestingly, Blackburn currently sitting in third position. They've really caught up with the top two and they are pushing for those automatic promotion places. But there is a big but to this. Tony Mowbray spoke about, the fact that to get out the Championship, they've got to do it smartly and perhaps trade in players. This was said in November, might be the best way to do it. So you do feel if a good deal comes in for Ben Brereton, then of course they might be inclined to sell. Something that maybe might put them off a little would be the fact that, fans have suddenly started coming back to Blackburn. The Venkies have been in charge for a long time and they've lost a hell of a lot of fans, with attendances at the start of the year being just around 11,000, of course, including away fans as well. That has now come back to around 18,000, 19,000, and selling a star man probably wouldn't go down too well. Having said that, I do think, and I have clicked over it, but I do think this has got a big chance of happening. So I did give it there. If you didn't notice, I believe an 80% chance of happening. Tosin Adebayo. I've absolutely destroyed that name. I don't even blame myself. But yeah, of course, the defender, Fulham defender. Now, interestingly, Fulham aren't going to have the same financial constraints, obviously not long coming down from the Premier League, but perhaps a club like Blackburn might have. Fulham currently just about sitting in those automatic promotion places. But as I said earlier, the gap has really closed. The 24-year-old centre-back has really been impressing. And for an expected transfer around 15 to 20 million, he could be available for transfer. Now, this is a centre-back that has been linked to Newcastle and has a long-standing history of being linked to Wolves. But with a lot of teams struggling to keep clean sheets, I feel they may dip into the Championship to grab what is really a really talented defender. And, Fulham may struggle to keep him if the right bid did come in. So do I think this will happen? I have gone for a 65% chance. The only reason I've gone for a bit lower is that bit that I spoke about. They're not in a position where they have to sell. And if they're really pushing forward for the, to get back promoted to the Premier League, they really could do with him at the club. Moving on to probably one of the most young, fascinating, exciting talents of the Championship right now, Keane Lewis-Potter. Aged just 20 years old, plays as a winger for Hull City with 5 goals, 4 assists in 23 games. I haven't really put an expected fee here because I've got to be honest, I don't actually know what he's going to be worth, and I don't want to get absolutely slated by Hull fans. Funny enough, just to show how much this guy has burst onto the scene, Transfer Market, which is usually quite a reliable source of information, value him at just 900k. As you can see from the stats, that is going to be complete rubbish. Well, rumoured clubs so far, Leicester City, Brentford and West Ham all having a look at him. And he has been described, along with another player that we'll cover later on, he has been described as one of the most exciting players and also one of the most talented players in the Championship at the moment in terms of young talent. So will it happen? I don't want to overclick. 70% on this one. I've given 70% because I think there is a really good chance that, clubs might go in for what is a really talented winger. And of course, at just 20 years of age, has a lot of room for improvement. Lloyd Kelly. Now, I touched on him before. He was at the time in my Newcastle transfer video linked with Newcastle, but since has been linked with West Ham. He's aged just 23, centre-back position, but also can play that left-back role. And currently at Bournemouth, his expected fee would be high. And it has actually gone up since my Newcastle video. Now they're being touted at around 25 million to sell. And there's no reason, you can see why. Bournemouth have actually gone a really bad spell in the Championship. Their last win coming at against Derby, I should say, in November. Since then, they have gone 6 games without a win. And the reason for that has to be one of the main reasons is this man getting injured. Of course, he came back at the weekend. That was his first game back. But before then, he picked up an injury, and then Bournemouth went on 5 games without a win, which has seen them drag back away from that top spot, really, looking like they would really return to the Premier League. Having said that, that is really going to show that they're going to be desperate to keep hold of him. So I haven't gone for a massive percentage because I think they really will be dying to keep hold of him. But we will see. We'll see where, the likes of Newcastle with their money really could be able to test the will, really, of the Bournemouth if they are wanting him. Let's move on. Paddy McNair. Now, this is an ex-Man United graduate who could play as a centre-back predominantly, but has also played as a CDM this season. And as you can see, yet again, another defender that West Ham are potentially after. We know West Ham currently have their defensive issues. There are other clubs that I think you could throw into this mix, the likes of Leicester City, maybe Wolverhampton Wanderers, Leeds leaking goals as well. So keep an eye out for all these defenders that I'm mentioning today. Because I feel that, they're going to be linked with a lot more clubs. But the rumoured club at the moment, David Moyes, is an admirer. Expected transfer fee of around 10 to 15 million. And will this happen? I've gone for 70%. Obviously, Middlesbrough, they're not in the position that a position where they're really pushing on and, really looking to be promoted, really. So something of this nature in a term of a fee might be too hard to turn down. Although, having said that, he's recently been linked to Celtic, and the Middlesbrough manager has put a firm "keep your hands off my player" vibe. Now, this is no surprise at all, is it? And Alexander Mitrovic, the 27-year-old striker, who's been absolutely tearing the Championship up. 22 goals and 5 assists in just 21 appearances. It's absolutely phenomenal what he has done in the first half of this season, really. This is just one of these, isn't it? Leeds have been rumoured, of course. We know that they could do with a striker, but there is, again, a bit like defensively. There's a lot of clubs that have kind of got negative goal difference, or haven't been scoring enough, haven't really been defending well enough. So I feel strikers are going to be another popular theme where the Championship could be a really an attractive market come January. Don't want to spend too much more time on this. Leeds are interested, and this is just as clear as day one, isn't it? That what he can bring to his team, the intensity he brings. He likes to bully defenders, and I'm really surprised that nobody went in for him in the summer. And also previously when Fulham went down and then came back up, I'm surprised no one went in for him then. So I have said this is a 40% chance of happening. The only reason I have said that is Fulham are really not going to want to sell him, are they? But again, you never know. But as I said, with obviously Tosin, I won't even try his second name again. He is a player which I don't think Fulham are going to be forced to sell. So it really would take a big bid. Another striker, though, that maybe clubs might be looking at is Joel Pyro. Currently a 22-year-old striker playing for Swansea, who scored 11 goals and 4 assists in 21 appearances. Leicester City have been linked with him. I think they want some more firepower up front at the moment and want to get some more goals. And moving for a young striker might be the way forward. Swansea were obviously 4th last season, currently sitting in 16th position as I record this, currently in the bottom half of the table. It would really take a massive push up from them to get back into those, like they did last season, into those playoff places and push onwards. So again, this has been a really tough time for Championship clubs. And you do wonder, I feel this January transfer window could really test their resolve with financial fair play really looming. Of course, Derby have suffered so much. And I feel there is going to be other clubs obviously affected by the COVID situation down in that Championship who have suffered a lot more than Premier League clubs. So there might be needing to sell more than previously. That's why I've gone for a 70% chance of this. I really do feel this January window is going to be a big chance for clubs to capitalise. Let's talk about, obviously, I spoke about, kind of touched on him when I speak about Keane Lewis Potter earlier on. Brennan Johnson, he was one of the second player that was mentioned as being an unbelievable young talent and one of the best in the league at the moment. Just 20 years of age, an attacking midfielder playing for Nottingham Forest, who Nottingham Forest have spent a lot in previous years. Obviously went for that big push of trying to, get up to that Premier League, and it didn't quite work out and find themselves in a bit of a static position. But at the moment, he scored 5 goals, 4 assists and 23 appearances, which for a young lad, and he just gets absolute plaudits, especially the weekend. There was another news story coming out about just how much the away fans were appreciating him. And, other clubs are in the Championship are really saying that this is a star to come. Well, Leeds United, as we know, they need players, don't they? They're really to the bare bone at the moment. Other rumoured club. But don't be surprised if more do come in and want him. Just 2 more to get through. So I have gave this a 60% chance of happening. I think maybe just because at the moment, just waiting to see what more interest and if it's a bit more concrete. Tyrese Campbell touched on this in the Newcastle video. So in case you watched that, I won't go into massive details. But Tyrese Campbell, who has had a year out from an injury, has recently come back. So that's why he's only made 9 appearances so far. But he has scored 2 goals. Newcastle United are rumoured to be wanting him. And don't be surprised if more join in the mix. So let's move on. And again, I've given this a 75% chance like I did with the Newcastle transfer video. So if you want a bit more detail on him, go back and check that one out. Finally, I think this is my last player. It is John Swift. Now, this is a guy that has been linked with a move to the Premier League. A rumoured club so far, Leeds United, playing as a midfield position for Reading. Now, he would really usually be worth more than 5 to 10 million, but currently down to the last 6 months of his contract, so which could make a really big difference. The main reason that I've put this percentage, if I can bring it up so low, is 30%, is he doesn't seem to be interested on actually moving at the moment. It seems that he wants to see out his contract because he does believe that there is going to be a better deal to come if he does wait and see out the contract. But let's see what happens. Let's see. I'm sure Reading might try and push him a bit if they can get a decent fee rather than losing him on a free transfer. So guys, that is it. 10 players that I really do think could move from the Championship to the Premier League. Let me know your thoughts. If you're a Championship fan, let me know, is one of your players mentioned? How hopeful are you of keeping him? And if one of your, if any of these clubs really, and if no matter who you support in the Premier League, let me know if you would want any of these players at your club. And finally, once again, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I shall see you on the next video. Goodbye.